Hi, Reverend Paula Zabkar here from Spiritual Soul Center. Let's start today with just a pause. So I invite you to breathe in and breathe out and to simply be present to this moment, to be receptive to whatever it has to bring, to be okay with exactly where you are. I'm going to be okay with exactly where I am. Release what's happened, what might happen, and to become present in the moment. That feels good and true and right. So welcome. We are here to create a movement at Spiritual Soul Center. A movement, not just static, but a movement grounded in love and kindness that transforms us, our community, and the world. And that idea of transformation is something that's been sticking in my mind for a while now. And that's what this series is about, transformation. What it takes for me to become different, to become maybe even unrecognizable. Maybe to others, but more so to my own self. So today I want to talk about this idea of forgiveness, because the energy of unforgiveness is heavy. It's a burden. It's a burden in itself to hold unforgiveness because it holds us hostage. And we think we're being brave. We think we're being, when we have that defiance about holding on to something, this unforgiveness. But really, what we are building is our own prison. We're building our walls even higher when we hold on to it, when we hold on to these things. Because even a little bit of unforgiveness makes a difference. It's not inconsequential. A little bit of unforgiveness can rob us and erode from the inside, can rob us of our joy. It can rob us of our freedom. A little bit of unforgiveness is not just a little bit of something something any more than a little bit of cancer is a little bit of something something. Or a little bit of COVID is a little bit of something something. It's either there or it's not there. And when it's there, it affects you. You can feel it. You can feel it in your body. You can feel it rise up. So I'm saying if I want to transform my life, if you want to transform your life, then we need to practice forgiveness. And any transformation, I think, is incomplete unless we practice that, unless we learn how to forgive, learn how to let go, if we really want freedom and joy, if we really want to be that transformed in that way, to have more freedom and joy in our own life, then we need to practice that. And we need to practice in the small ways as well as the big ways. Let me give you an example. So Renee and I have been doing a renovation project in our bathroom. And because we are who we are, we don't hire one contractor that takes care of everything. We hire individual contractors who come in and take care of individual things. And that happened when we hired a plumber. We had to hire a plumber. We were relocating the shower. And so the plumber had to come in with a machine to cut the concrete to relocate the drain. So we had a drain in the correct position for our new shower. Just so happens that the contractor brought this machine in and he scratched the existing floor. Well, I thought that was about the worst thing that could have happened. Scratching the floor. Yes, in the context of everything that's going on in my life and in the world, I was holding unforgiveness about that. I was wanting him to pay for what he did. I was holding that against him. I wanted somebody to blame for what was going on with this floor, all the extra work that I had to do to make it right. You can see in this little example of what it did to me. I hope you can. I know I can feel what it feels like. And it took me a little while, maybe about 3 weeks actually, to release that judgment I had, to release that blame I had, to get my freedom and joy back from the scratches he left on the floor. Forgiveness is powerful, even in little ways. It heals me. It releases the hurt from me. That guy didn't even know I was holding it against him, probably. Or if he did, he let it go immediately. I'm sure he's not thinking about it today. But why does this stuff stick to us in the first place? If it makes me feel so good to having released it, why does it stick there to begin with? That was a question I had for myself. Well, I think it sticks because we do feel hurt. Because we do feel taken advantage of. because we do feel shut out or not understood. And we want to blame someone. We think that having someone else take some of that burden somehow, that it makes sense to us. But it doesn't really, does it? It doesn't really. It doesn't make sense. That's why it begins to stick to us, though, is because we do feel hurt. And why does it linger? Why does unforgiveness linger in us? Well, I think it lingers because we make forgiveness something that it isn't. We think that by forgiving, we let somebody off the hook. We think that forgiveness is about making whatever happened okay. We think that we have to keep it alive in us so that it's not forgotten, right? We think that maybe our pain, if it's deeper kind of unforgiveness, that our pain and our loss won't be recognized, that it didn't mean anything, that we're off the hook, like I said, letting someone off the hook, or maybe even that we're giving up on justice if we forgive someone. But listen, there's a difference between forgiveness and accountability. There's a difference between forgiveness and accountability. Accountability can happen in the world. Forgiveness happens in me. Forgiveness happens in me. They can coexist together. They can coexist. Because forgiveness is inner work, and accountability happens in the world. Forgiveness is about freedom and joy. I think another reason forgiveness is tough to do because it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to forgive. We may think that holding on to it and being defiant about it and not letting it go, that takes courage. Well, I don't think so. That takes energy. It takes energy to keep it alive, but it doesn't take courage. It's the same rut over and over again that we go back to. It takes a lot more courage to come out of the rut, to come out of that place. Doesn't it? Think about that. I think that's true. You know, keeping up this defiant face is not about courage, it's about fear. It's about fear that if I let it go, somehow it'll be erased. That somehow my pain or my sorrow or my anger or my hurt, that somehow it won't have meant anything. But that's really not what it's about. Letting go is courage. It takes courage to let it go. It takes courage to heal your own self, to heal your heart. That's what takes courage. It's like most spiritual work. It takes courage to be humble, to be vulnerable. And forgiveness is right in there with it, because it's all about the work in me and what's going to bring me more joy, more freedom, more ease, and more peace. Here's the other thing. We don't forgive someone or something. If you haven't gotten that yet, let me say that explicitly. We don't forgive someone or something. Forgiveness is for me. Forgiveness is for you. It has nothing to do with the other person. The transformation doesn't happen in anybody else but me. When I choose to forgive, when I choose to let it go, to let it flow through me, to realize that my freedom, my joy, my peace, and my ease are much more important than anything else. Even the holding on of unforgiveness. I know we've been hurt. I know we've been taken advantage of. I know it's not right or just. I know that. I've experienced that, and so have you. It's not about making it right. It's about releasing yourself to experience a greater joy and greater freedom in life. So we shouldn't be afraid to release it. We should be looking to release that. We should be finding a way in ourselves to do that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And in the end, I believe forgiveness is really an act of self-love. Forgiveness really is for me, and it allows me to love myself. It's an act of self-love. That's what it is. Let me read this from Mark Nepo's Book of Awakening that I think relates to what I'm talking about here. In here he quotes the Chinese sage Lao Tzu, and he says, Lao Tzu's quote is this: "The hard and the stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail. Whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life." To stay among the living, we are often asked to summon the courage not to resist. This is meeting the world in all of its painful variety, with feet spread and arms wide open, neither accepting everything nor rejecting everything, but leaning in to what is nourishing and letting the rest move through us. Leaning in to what is nourishing and letting the rest flow through us. I think that's it in a nutshell for me, forgiveness. So let's take another deep breath together and let these words, let this idea of forgiveness settle on you, to settle on your heart, to make your heart feel the tenderness in you, and to know that the work you do to release, the willingness you have to release whatever you hold in unforgiveness, is the greatest gift of self-love to your very self. So breathing in and breathing out, and settle into these few moments of meditation. for this wisdom, for understanding the power in us to be able to release what no longer serves us. We can be grateful in our heart at this very moment to open our eyes to a world that is kind, that is opening us or inviting us with open arms to love ourselves enough to forgive. I'm so very grateful right this moment. And so it is. Amen. I feel good. Yes, I've released the scratched floor and so much more. And it's a daily work. It's a life work, as are most spiritual ideals. So let's close with this kindness toward ourselves and for every living being when we say this. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy. And amen.